Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Come back with me to October 1982. We've still just only scratched the surface of the games. We were last on the Apple II, seeing if we could survive the snapper, and yes, we did. Let's see what our next title is. Next, we're going to play on our TRS-80, and this is Stratos. Or I believe there are umlauts at the top of that. Maybe it's Stratos. Let's check out Stratos. Starting with the box. This one is the latest by Adventure International. This marks our 86th game we played by Adventure International, including all the ports that are out there. This is a very well done box. I mean, even the font looks fantastic. You can see at the top they are advertising both the TRS-80 and the Atari version, and you bet we're going to check out both. This one has the TRS-80 sticker on the front, and man, it is a futuristic world. Reminds me of something like Star Trek, but obviously we have aliens coming down, which is sci-fi is all the rage right now. We have to protect the world. Let's flip it over on the back. And there you go. Even more excellent artwork. Far above the clean sweeping lines of futuristic megalopolis, the first wave of craft from another world falls from the skies. Oh, so maybe it's just like a Space Invaders game. Over in the bottom left, we can see, actually, this is interesting. Most Adventure International games that are released on multiple platforms, they have the same back of the box. This one looks different. This one actually looks like something that Sierra Online would have done. It shows us the machine language, number of players, average playtime. It says 5 minutes to complete the game, which is very different than most Adventure International games. And the special equipment is joysticks on the Atari, and then optional joysticks are available here on the TRS-80. Cool, let's see what other artwork we have. I know, right? We don't see many video game titles with a umlaut at the top. Stratos. We also have the ad you would have seen in magazines from the time. From the Arcades of Tomorrow. A microcomputer experience for today. And they have a few screenshots. Oh, down there in the TRS-80 screenshot, which is very rare. We usually see screenshots on other home computers. So cool. And then we have a few screenshots that you'd see in the manual or the inside sleeve, and the title. Let's pop it and play Stratos. This is by John E. Cominio, published by Adventure International at some time in the beginning of October 1982. To load it up, you just go with Stratos. And we do have our joystick plugged in. We have the adapter for our TRS-80, so this should work correctly. Let's see what it's like. So cool. Sound effects are on. We can do begin or clear for instructions. Let's hit clear. Way to go, John. Cominio. I don't believe we've seen any games by John Cominio. Purpose is to protect the fuel depots and the city of the game. We can move the cursor and arrow keys, position over the attacker, shoot with the spacebar. If one laser base is knocked out, the other will shoot. If both bases are knocked out, you lose. All right, so it explains how to game here, and we have the attackers that came in. Only 3 types of attackers. It does say 2 players, but this is 1 or 2 alternating, so it feels more like an arcade game. All right, we'll do 1 player, and we're in. I am the cursor. No way, I actually have a crosshair that I move around the screen. Moving the crosshair with the joystick is really cool, and something we don't see a lot on the TRS-80. Wait, we already had the game over? Maybe that's why they said the gameplay is 5 minutes on the back of the box. That was so fast. All right, there we go. And we already got a high score because this is our first time playing. Can we do more than carefully enter your initials? Oh, it wouldn't let me enter my initials. All right, so we'll go again. I guess you can't make the aliens reach the bottom. All right, let's do this. Don't let them get to the bottom. So we are only moving the crosshair around, so this is once again another one of those command shooters. Most popular command shooter we've seen is obviously Missile Command, way back in June of 1980, and on home computers there's already been quite a bit of variants of Missile Command and other kind of command shooters that are out there. Here on the TRS-80 though, this is really cool to be able to move a cursor around the screen and fire at the aliens. Playing with a joystick too on the TRS-80 is a real treat. Not most people would play this way. Most people would be doing the cursor keys and spacebar. But control-wise, very simple. Just move around, shoot, make sure those aliens don't reach the bottom, and you can see they're dropping what it feels like bombs. It's almost like the aliens are playing Blitz against us, and we have to shoot them before they get to the bottom. So it doesn't play exactly like Missile Command. Notice there's some coming in with kamikazes, but having the cursor around the screen and the laser bases, to attack really makes it feel that way. Notice that we had one gun that is gone, and the other gun continues to shoot. All right, attack wave 1 is complete. Fuel, we have our 2 fuel depots are there. We have layer 1 that goes up, so it gives it a little bit of bonus protection. But you just got to be really, really quick to blow up all the aliens before they reach the bottom. Right now, to play this on the TRS-80 is great. There isn't like a dedicated missile command or official missile command you could play on the TRS-80. So this is awesome. So even after Bill Hogue and Jeff Connew stopped developing games for the TRS-80, we still get some pretty good ones. Oh, no, they're getting too low. They're going to get a kamikaze on us. And I believe if both our guns are gone, we're out of here. I'm already looking over the chat. Paul's throwing out 2.5 stars, which means he still says it's around the average range for all the games you could play on a home computer. Maybe a little bit less, below average. But I would say this is awesome. Being able to freely move around the cursor using the joystick, and this again was with the adapter to play with your Atari joystick on the TRS-80. Yeah, and speaking of first person mainly, still the best one that you could play was the Battle Zone variant for the TRS-80. Armored Patrol, that one is, that's the way to go for a first person game. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. You get a lot of enjoyment out of this. It also plays really well. Being able to move the cursor around, either with the cursor keys or with your joystick, feels great. So layer 1 moves up, yeah. And what you see here is what you get. So there's not any new aliens, anything that changes from this. But right now, this is still really, really nice. So some of the best missile command or command shooters you could play right now on home computers would be obviously the official missile command on the Atari home computer in August 1981. Polaris on the TRS-80 Color Computer in November 1981 is like top tier. And then ABM on the Apple II in 1980. Laser Command on the BBC Micro, September 1982. Laser Defense on the TRS-80 plays like this. And I would actually say Laser Defense plays better than this. So you can play a missile command game on the TRS-80 that is looks differently, phrased differently. So I would give that one the nod as the better missile command game, and we've already played that one in May 1982. And then Outworld, of course, was on the VIC-20 in August 1982. So there's other ones for home computers that are better, that would play better than this, but this is still very, very good. I'm going to say of all the games to play on a home computer, 3.5 stars, but I'd still give it a slight nod to Laser Defense on the TRS-80. So this one marks our 32nd game we've played on all platforms that's a command shooter. That's how many different command shooters after Missile Command have been released. That's a lot. All right, let's press forward to see our next game. And it shouldn't be any surprise, it's Stratos on the Atari home computer. Let's see how it fares on a different home computer. Here we go. This is the box for Stratos. It should look familiar. Just slap another sticker on it for the Atari. You need 32K if you're playing this on disc. And this version is by Neil Larimer. Way to go, Neil. Last thing we saw by Neil was Rear Guard, again by Adventure International. Flip it over the back, should look exactly the same as it did on the TRS-80. You see it has the Atari version, or the Atari screenshot on the back. Same bit of information, though. Love the artwork. Let's see if we have anything else for Stratos. We have the advertisement inside the box. Do you want to write for Adventure International? Yeah, you do right now. You can see they want to get everyone that can program for all major microcomputers, the Apple, the Atari, the TRS-80, the Commodore, the TI-99-4A, everything on CPM, IBM, Zero. They want to do everything. Even the NEC, Adventure International, wants to do it all. And for this one, we even have the manual. That's awesome. The first time I've ever done that one. Here's the manual for Stratos, or the documentation. The Atari version, this was found on Atari Mania. That's how we were able to get it. But notice this one has some lore behind what's happening. The history of why we're defending the city. Because we gotta know why. Alpha Prime, commander of the planetary defenses, thank you. There we go. Welcome to Atari Stratos. The invasion is only moments away. Prepare for a battle that will shake the world to its very core. Exciting hyperspace in the wink of an eye. M-Korg Starjammers appear in groups of 3. Yeah, so it even has the name of the characters that are coming after us. Even has the glossary of terms. You can't tell the bad guys without a scorecard, at least, it tells us here. And there's all the different bad guys and what they do, how you can take them out. Very, very nice. Love all this. If you're into reading the instructions ahead of time, just to know what's happening in the game. And then here's the condensed instructions. Make sure you attach your Atari VCS joystick to the front. Go to the title screen. It gives us what the options do and the start and select button. The object of the game is destroy enemy star jammers to prevent the destruction of the city. Force the envelope repair. Press spacebar to activate the repair saucer. That's cool. And then we have, oh yeah, it says it's not an overly complex game. Thanks. It wasn't an overly complex game on the TRS-80. There's the enemy ships, attack waves, how to repair your saucer. So I don't believe we had that on the TRS-80, so we can do that here on the Atari. Nice. And this marks another time that there's differences between the ports on Adventure International. Rear Guard was another one that we saw too. City Towers, Armageddon Wave devices. Look at this, lots of information about the game. And we do have skill levels. We only have novice or expert. You can only play one of the two. How the high score works. Joystick controls are fairly simple. We're going to move the crosshair around just like we did on the TRS-80. And then we have the key functions. Shows us how to begin the game. Oh, nice. We can pick between different colors. Oh, background color. That's cool. And the skill level. And then they even break down the game synopsis here. Wow, what an in-depth manual. It is a giant wall of text, but it gives you a lot of the stuff you need. I know, right, Paul? I guess if you wanted to use the scorecard to help you get the best high score, there's the loading instructions for the Atari. You need 16K to play that. And then the 32K disc. Sweet. Both versions right there. All right, so let's pop in and play Stratos on the Atari. This is by Neil Larimer, published by Adventure International at the beginning of October 1982. This one marks our 369th game that we played on the Atari line of home computers. Yes! Bring on the noise! All right, so if I hit select just switches between novice or expert, and if I push option gives us 1 or 2 players, and just like on the TRS-80, it's 2-player alternating, so I'll just go with a 1-player game. We are not going to go expert. We'll start with novice and hitting start to go. Whoa, response is even better than the TRS-80. Amazing. So cool. So I got a force field at the bottom. I got this cursor that can move around freely on the screen. And man, this feels great. This feels like a newer way to play Missile Command, or a different type of Missile Command. I even have, if you notice, after I fire a shot, there's a shock wave that explodes to the sides, so you get an even wider range. It's almost like when you play Missile Command, it makes that circle explosion, and you know that you can time your shots with this. So this one's different because it's firing straight to the sides, and use that to your advantage. It takes a little bit of time to get used to, because I was expecting, like on the TRS-80, wherever you fire is where the shot's going to land. But no, this one has like a shockwave. It's awesome. Look at that. You can use the shockwave to fire out to the sides. Oh, that's so cool. And what's also interesting is usually on the Atari, you have the spacebar to pause the game. Let's use the spacebar. Do we heal? What? No way. And now the spacebar brings out another ship. So it brings out one of our firing commands. Can I bring it back down to the... That's awesome. That reminds me of when we played Atlantis on the Intellivision. Whoa. Sound effects are amazing. I'm already looking over the chat. I see an average score by Paul, but then 2 4-star ratings. Charlie and Curtis are throwing that out. I'm surprised. This is the true port, or the better port. And what you see here, this is all the ports of Stratos. There is only the TRS-80 and the Atari home computer. And this is the way to go. Can I do it again and hit spacebar again? What happens? Oh yeah, it only brings out the ship there. Whoa, they blew it up. All right, now we're going to the old school. Got my... Oh, and also notice the firepower cancels out. So the little shockwave that goes to the sides, it stops itself for a sec. Oh, now we got a meteor shower coming? Awesome. Oh man, look at this. And you gotta quickly get them, you gotta time it right to knock out the meteor shower. So intense. This is fantastic. Now, I would say the classic experience would obviously be Missile Command on the Atari home computer, but you gotta admit, the inspiration they got from the Atari version. And you could argue that you would want the classic version of Missile Command, but this is still really good. This is why I love checking out all the ports. Every now and then, you know, usually with microcomputer games, you get the same experience. You know, it's not really between different ports. You don't get anything that's different. But this one, look how crazy better this is than the other port. And sometimes Adventure International gives us even more systems to see, but this was only on these 2 home computers. And this is all that happened to Stratos. This is all you get. Oh yeah, Charlie, I'm with you. It feels like arcade quality. It really feels like arcade sound. They got the Pokey chip working really hard, and it sounds fantastic. Yeah, so if you take the time and you fire your shot, the shockwave, watch how wide the shockwave goes. It's going to destroy everything from the left and right. But if you do really fast, like the excessive fire mode, it cancels it out, so you have this really tiny shot, so you can do more concentrated small shots faster. But great mechanic. Really, really nice. And then you just move the cursor around really fast. The only way I could feel this would be better is if we had some input, some way to move the cursor freely. You know, like a trackball, or maybe a device you held in your hand that you just dragged around to get it on the screen. If only we had such a device right now. Maybe Xerox computers have that device. Alright, so I love this. This is awesome. There you go. That's Stratos for the Atari home computer. I'm very impressed. Of all the games you could play right now on a home computer, we already mentioned all the different command shooters. In the gamut, this one's the 33rd command shooter of all platforms you could play on. There's a lot out there already after we saw in the arcade, but I wouldn't call this one of the best games you could play on a home computer because it's still one player at a time, alternate play. And there's plenty of other games that offer multiplayer situations, arcade quality games that are going beyond what the arcade can have. So I'm going to say it's still excellent. 4 stars for Stratos, or however you pronounce it with that umlaut in there. I love it. All right, that was great. Let's press forward and see what our next title is. Going from one home computer to another, next is the Apple II. This is Succession. Not familiar with this one. Let's check it out together, starting with the box. This one is only available on the Apple II, and this marks our 388th game we've played on the Apple II. It's by Piccadilly Software. This looks like most of the boxes we've seen on Apple II for Piccadilly Software. I don't exactly know what the game is. It looks like, is that Casey Munchkin on the front? It looks like we're eating people with numbers, but it doesn't really explain much what it is. Maybe it's Pac-Man. Kind of from the box. This marks our 5th game we've played by Piccadilly Software, and it's only on keyboard. So put those joysticks and paddles away. Flip it over on the back. The object of the game is get all the numbered little creatures within the maze, but you must get them in order and within a time limit. You have to move up, down, and around and get out of the maze, but don't let the chaser get you. The chaser, not even close to Evil Otto. It's completed when all the number of creatures are there. You get to the end of the first level, there'll be 3 more levels, one each faster than more difficult. Written by Chris Eisnagel. Way to go, Chris. Only other game we've seen by Chris at this point was Ribbit, also by Piccadilly Software. It was a Frogger game, so it's kind of funny we're seeing a Frogger game that Chris did, and now this one. Any other artwork? We have the 5 1/4 floppy disk. Apple II only, 48K needed. 48K still the norm for the Apple II. With a fan art disc. Let's pop in Succession. Published by Piccadilly Software at some time in the beginning of October 1982. All right, so this one, right off the bat, gives you an option of what your keyboard command is. So cool. Nice feature. Way to go, Chris. So you just pick the movement, up, down, left, and right. So I want to do up, down, left, right, and done. And you can play or go into a demo, and the demo is kind of like a track mode for the arcade. So it's already playing. I'm at the bottom of the screen, and I really do look like a Casey Munchkin ripoff. I'm not going to call this a Casey Munchkin variant, but the character It has the same antenna, just like it. So at the bottom of the screen, you're meant to move around and pick up all of the items in order. So I have to go for one first. You can see there's two, and I have warps around all the edges of the screen. The only difference is they don't wrap around. Like if I go to the left here, it does send me back to the right, but if I go to the top of the screen, it warps to a completely different place. And I can't show you because if you pick up the wrong order, then the level ends. So you have to pick them up in order. I got to go for number 2 next. We'll make our way around this side and then go for number 3. So you get the idea. It's succession. That's what it means. Kind of taking the title really literal. And then we go for number 4. This also has barriers that we've seen in a couple other games that are like Pac-Man. For example, Cat Tracks on the Arcadia 2001 home console. So now I'm in the next level. Oh, and the chaser got me. I just get some very sad notes and I'm dead. All right, I think he's coming for me. Let's try a different... Oh, he got me again. He was guarding the number 1. I couldn't get it. So it's really not Casey Munchkin. You just look like Casey Munchkin. This more plays like Pac-Man. But it is doing a formula that's kind of fun. It reminds me of the game we played, The Hand, or Got Ya, where it was rock, paper, scissors moving around the maze as Pac-Man. This one is a little more simpler. Just pick up the numbers in order and then move on. All right, so I can't pick up 3 or 5. Let's go ahead and warp down. Notice when I pick the warp, if you go to the top ones, it warps to different spots. It even warps you back to the top again. The left and right ones, oh no, it doesn't. Look at this. I'm going to it's just random. It's picking random places for the gates to go. And every time you go level by level, it just adds a different degree of things you need to pick up. So you can see I'm now going for number 2. If I can make it. There we go. And then we'll make our way over here to number 3. Oh, the gate opened. That was nice. So lots of randomness with this one. But I would say this is still part of the fun. It's not really frustrating. You'd get used to it, and it's like playing Pac-Man, but a different way. All right, let's go for number 5. I think I need to go here. What in the world? It warped me to the same. It picks random spots. It even picked the same one. So now I'm stuck in the middle. And if you pick up the wrong number, you can see it all resets. You have to do all your work all over again. I know, but you're not really growing like a snake, but I understand what you mean. All right, there's a quick taste of Succession. At this point, this marks our 264th game that plays like an arcade maze game. And for actual Pac-Man games like this one, more specific, this is our 114th game that plays like Pac-Man. That's how many Pac-Man-like games are there. And that's not including official Pac-Man games, because Pac-Man is officially on the Atari home computer right now. All right, so the first thing we ever played on was the Apple II was Snoggle in February 1981. And then so far, the best games you could play that are like Pac-Man on home computers would be Ghost Hunter, Bezman, Hungry Horse, Jelly Monsters, Snapper on the BBC Micro, Spectre, Taxman and Super Taxman 2, Dung Beetles, Gulp Man, Gobbler, Mouse Attack, and all those are some of the best ones right now on home computers. This one is not one of those best ones. In a different universe, I would actually consider this an educational game because you have to go in order, you know your numbers, but that's kind of stretching it. And because it's a nod to Casey Munchkin, I wouldn't call this bad. I would still call this pretty average for all the games you could play. Yeah, looking over the chat, I see a lot of 3 stars. Yeah, and it's a little, I can see you being generous because notice it was slower than other Pac-Man games too, but I'll still say 3. Very average for all the games you could play right now on home computers. All right, with that, let's see what our next game is. Next, we're going to the TRS-80 Color Computer, and this is Tank. Just Tank. This one just has a couple screenshots, and that's it. Let's pop in and play some Tank. This is my TND software subscription in the beginning of October 1982. This one runs on BASIC. Let's see how fast this one goes. This marks our 141st game we played on the TRS-80 Color Computer. Go Tandy Radio Shack. It's Tank, and it's an unofficial Tank. It's based on Tank that we've seen since 1974. This is the very first time that the Coco got a Tank-like game or Tank variant. Object is destroy your opponent tanks before they destroy yours. Make sure you got your other joystick plugged in. You got 2 analog joysticks in here. You can rotate the tank back and forth with the joysticks and vice versa. They can only move in 4 directions. Tanks will not move into another object. Oh, that's nice. So you have to go around all the objects. and you can go to forward positions. Tanks can shoot in all 8 directions. Use the keys to fire. So you have to use your joystick to move the tank, but the keys to fire. So you and a friend would still have to huddle around the keyboard to access the keys. There's the controls for player 1 and 2, and there's the scores. Can your computer handle fast speed? Oh yeah, it can. I'll say yes. Hit enter on both joysticks. Okay, both joysticks are centered, I believe. Okay, we're ready, and hit enter. All right, we're in. I got both of them plugged in, and we can control one. Yeah, purple tank here, and orange tank. Nice. So it is like we're playing an old school tank game. Look at this. So you can move around. It feels like, actually feels even more rudimentary than Combat on the Atari VCS, which is another tank game. But you can go ahead and fire your shots, and you have 3 different options. Man, the pixel's so small for that one. And then the same thing here. Let's see, we can go fire in. But you do have the option to fire in 3 ways. So if you watch the purple tank, look, I can fire it in an arc or an angle, but it's delayed. Pushing the button on the keyboard takes a little bit of time for it to come out. Oh man, there's the explosion. So we've already blew up the other tank. Yeah, the graphics don't feel like this is not the best that the TRS-80 Color Computer could give you. Did I just shoot? Wait, what happened to the wall? The object of the wall. So it feels unpolished, that's for sure. And we go on this side, and we can move the tanks around. By the way, I have to have 2 joysticks plugged in because there's no computer. It's like old school Combat. You have to have 2 people to play. Or old school Tank, if you want to go back to the arcades that far. Look at this. Fire a shot, and I can curve it, right, to the side. Yeah. Nice. So you have what is different than other tank games, allowing you to shoot in 3 different directions. Or they even claimed 8 different directions. Yeah, that's true. It's also lower res, Curtis, so it does not feel like one of the most advanced tank games that you could be playing right now, and you have to have a friend. So make sure you got 2 joysticks ready to play on your TRS-80 Color Computer. We've been playing a lot of Coco that requires 2 joysticks, but it's 1-player games, so it's kind of cool using both joysticks, and you're able to play with someone else. Fire! Blow them up! So cool! Right now, the best tank-style games you're going to find are on the console or in the arcade. There's not really a lot that are good on home computers. But right now, the best way to play Tank, or the best home computer versions of Tank that are out there, is Blasto on the TI-99-4A, a Tank on the Atari home computer, Tank Arcade on the Atari home computer and the TRS-80, and then Ultimate Tank on the VIC-20. And the only reason I bring up Ultimate Tank is because it was the first time you could play a split-screen cooperative game. That's the only reason. But majority of the Tank games is going to be console or the arcade. Those are the ones that really shine. So you got 2 people to play. It is Tank, but it is clunky and it's a little messy. Of all the games you could play right now on a home computer, I'm looking over in the chat. Yeah, that's true. It's not bad for basic, but we have played better Tank games. This one is clunky and the fire rate is a little off. So it would work, but I'm going to say for total games to play, this is still subpar. It's either 2.5 or 2. I'm going to actually go lower. 2 stars for Tank. It is a classic from 1974, and it can be played better on the Coco. At least this iteration could be played better at this point. All right. There you go. It's time to put the video game playing on pause. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, the world's most difficult maze game and the arcade sensation you'll never play at home. All this and more as we read the latest issue of Video Gaming Illustrated. Next, that's it for today, and like I always say, shoot everything. If it blows up or dies, it was the bad guy. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.